Hi there, it's David Ostriker. It's the 8th day of, interesting, 8th day, Shmini. Huh. It's the 8th day of March, which is International Women's Day around the world. Make sure you celebrate that. And as if that was not significant enough, it's also the 2nd day of Rosh Chodesh Bet, which is Adar, the 2nd day of Rosh Chodesh Adar Bet, the 2nd Adar, which our happiness should continue to increase at this time. So we should definitely be celebrating the women in our lives on this day. Got that? Okay, good. It's important. By the way, International Women's Day was the first one was on Purim, and the founders of it were Jewish, and I'm sure very conscious of the role that Esther Malka, as the Queen Esther, played in this story. But we'll come to that soon. We're going to be talking about Purim soon. But today we're talking about Parsha PERKUDE, the last Parsha in Parsha Shmot. In this Parsha, the Mishkan is completed by one person. One person puts together the entire Mishkan, all the elements of it. That, of course, is Moshe Rabbeinu. Now, we're told by Chazal that he had the help of God in the process. It was too much even for one man, even such a man as Moshe Rabbeinu. And God said, you begin the work and I'll make it happen. But at the conclusion of it, it's a curious thing what happens. He finishes everything. He finishes the inside, the outside, the courtyards, all of it, right? And the cloud that rested on the tent of Sarah Amenu, right, now comes and rests on the Mishkan. And we've talked about this before. And what does Moshe Rabbeinu do? It's curious. At the very end of the Parsha, he leaves the Mishkan. We understand it has something to do with the cloud descending and the presence of Hashem, of the Shekhinah, on the Mishkan itself. And what happens at the beginning of the next Parsha? He enters the Mishkan. So what happens in between? Nothing seems to happen between his exit and his entrance into the Mishkan. What's it about? Well, God did not say that I am your God, Moshe Rabbeinu. He said, I will take from me a people. That means the Jewish people, the people there. And so Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to make sure the people understood that it was their structure. And so he exited from it. And he let them observe the cloud descending onto the Mishkan, the presence of the infinite on the finite. God letting a presence of godliness enter physically into a structure that had been built by the Jewish people, made from things contributed by the Jewish people. That is to say, a merging of the infinite and the finite, the merging of humanity and Moshe, humanity and Hashem. Moshe wanted to make sure that this was all clear, that the people weren't wondering, what's Moshe doing in there with the cloud coming down? You know, that shouldn't be their focus. Their focus should be on the cloud and on the fact that it came from them. And that was the first Mishkan. Now, it's interesting because there were 7 since, or total. There was the one in the wilderness. There was one in Gilgal. There was one for 469 years, something like that. In Shiloh. There was one in Nov. There was one in Givon. There was Shlomo's Beis HaMikdash. There was the second Beis HaMikdash. 7 total. 7 we know is a holy number in this world. 8 is something more. We have a parsha called Shmini. Today is the 8th day of March, right? The 8th day of the week was a Beatles song. What is the significance of 8? 8 is beyond our senses. 8 is beyond even holy. It's something beyond, just beyond. Think of it as beyond, right? The miracle of Hanukkah, bris, right? Each one of the Mishkans that I described to you before, and also the temples themselves, were either disassembled and moved or destroyed. Some say the first Mishkan, the one in the wilderness, because it was built by Moshe and is therefore infinite, was put aside, but it was taken down. The 8th Migdash, the 8th recreation of the Mishkan, of the place for the Shekhinah to reside in this world, right, is coming. And the prophet tells us, Isaiah tells us, right, that this one, the 8th one, will be, quote, firmly established. It will not be destroyed, it will not be moved, it will be on the mountain, and it will be there forever. And it should come soon. The goal of the people was eventually to have the Mikdash, the temple in Zion, when they arrived in the Promised Land, in Israel. And so it was, and they had it, right? But it's yet to be completed. God willing, it will be firmly established in the near future. Have a great Shabbos. David Ostriker, in the sunlight, from Karmiel. Be well.